All right, next up, we have an update on our medical cannabis program with some specific updates based on new legislation that's come out with some fixes that were certainly needed. So since taking office, we've been committed to providing access to healthcare and creating safer communities for all of Kentucky. Just a year ago, I signed Senate Bill 47, which legalizes medical cannabis beginning in January of 2025. Since that time, we've filed 15 regulations to implement this new program. Those rules provide for how medical cannabis businesses will operate and how Kentuckians with qualifying conditions can become cardholders. We have worked hard to create a safe system that limits or eliminates abuse while still providing relief to that veteran suffering from PTSD or individuals suffering from unbearable epileptic seizure after epileptic seizure. In order to ensure Kentuckians can access medical cannabis, we now need to begin licensing cannabis businesses. Due to federal laws, unlike other medical products, all of our medical cannabis must be cultivated, processed, and produced right here in the Commonwealth. That whole system has to happen within our borders. Under Senate Bill 47, we were going to have a challenge. The ability to purchase medical cannabis was supposed to begin January 1st, 2025, and that's the first time we could license a business. So there was no way everything was going to be up and running because you have to be licensed to have the product or to grow the product or to process the product. And we need the time to make sure that we are in every step of the enforcement in this process to make sure that it is safe. So knowing that patients needed access to this medication sooner rather than later, we were capable, we informed the General Assembly of the issue and we worked on a solution, which is why I'm pleased to announce that yesterday I signed House Bill 829 into law. Among other things, the bill takes the important step of moving up the timeline for business licensing by 6 months. In other words, we can accept the applications, we can get the licenses out, and there is time for these businesses to do it right and for us to ensure that they are doing it right. As a result, the program can begin issuing license, though there can't begin certainly patients can't get it until 2025, but businesses can operate in 2024, the middle, as opposed to 2025. I'm also pleased to report we're taking steps to meet the quicker timeline by filing licensing and application regulations. The new regulations establish a licensing structure for cannabis businesses, an application and review process and timeline, and application and licensing fees. Remember, you can always learn more by visiting kymedcan.ky.gov. So, under these new regulations, businesses can begin applying for a cannabis business license beginning July 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2024. Applicants will be required to pay an application fee, submit documentation, and information. So this is the timeline we're looking at right now. Documentation, which is the next slide that'll be required, includes a business history, operation plans, ownership information, business location and site plans, and financial information. Applicants will also have one opportunity to fix any issue in their application following the initial submission. It's a new process. We want to work with people through it. In crafting these new rules, we've been focused on ensuring our cannabis business licensing is fair and transparent. We believe that anybody who is interested in being a part of this exciting new industry should have the opportunity to do so as long as they can do it safely and meet the necessary criteria. That's why today I'm excited to announce that we will be issuing our medical cannabis business license using a lottery system. To do so, we've partnered with the Kentucky Lottery Corporation. The license lottery will be held in October of this year. That will be a lottery that will select a certain number of those that apply for each of the different levels that are out there. This is what states are moving towards. It reduces or eliminates litigation, and it creates a more fair process, not one where people bid against each other, and only then the big companies can be a part of it, but one that provides at least a chance for everyone who can meet the criteria. So I'm going to turn it over to Sam Flynn, our program's executive director, who's going to tell us more.
Thank you, Governor. I want to thank you for your leadership, and I want to thank the Office of the Governor and the Cabinet leadership for their support for this program. I also want to thank my team, whose hard work makes this announcement today possible. Under Senate Bill 47, our program was required to file all implementing regulations by July 1 of 2024. With the filing of these business and licensing regulations today, we have completed that task 2 full months ahead of that deadline. And thanks to the governor for signing House Bill 829, we'll now be able to begin licensing cannabis businesses starting July 1 of 2024. Again, 6 full months ahead of the original schedule. As the governor noted, we're excited to be issuing those licenses through a lottery process. We considered a number of other processes used in other states and determined this was the most fair and transparent way to build this exciting industry here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. It should be noted that other states are also adopting this approach, as the governor mentioned. We are also excited to announce our initial license allocation. Because our program is focused on patient access, it's critical that our cannabis business licensing ensures that new industry is stable and sustainable, and with an emphasis on small business, and provides product growth to meet cardholder demand. For that reason, the initial license availability for each business category will be as follows. There will be 10 Tier 1 cultivator licenses, that's the 2,500 square foot license, 4 Tier 2 cultivator licenses, 2 Tier 3 cultivator licenses in the first initial license period. There will also be 10 processor licenses made available and 48 dispensary licenses. I will note that the program will not be issuing Tier 4, that's the 50,000 square foot cultivator licenses in this round, and we will also not be issuing producer licenses in the first round of the license process. For safety compliance facilities, that's the testing laboratories, there will be no initial license limitation. It's important to note that while some license types relate directly to the production or testing of cannabis, like processors or cultivators, and can be located anywhere in the state, to ensure patient access, dispensaries need to be located near Kentucky cardholders so that they can have access to medical cannabis for their serious qualifying conditions. That's why our program has created 11 medical cannabis dispensary licensing regions. This is for licensing only. These regions were developed in conjunction with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet and the Commonwealth Office of Technology to ensure that Kentuckians with qualifying conditions like cancer and PTSD have the shortest possible drive time to the medical cannabis dispensary nearest them. Approximated drive times are reflected in a drive time analysis, again, provided by the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, and that will be available on our website and is available here. To ensure that dispensaries are evenly distributed throughout the Commonwealth, each region will initially have 4 dispensary licenses per region, with the exception of the Kentuckiana and Bluegrass regions, which will have 6. And no county can have more than 1 dispensary in the initial license allocation, with the exception of our 2 largest counties, Jefferson County and Fayette County, which will have 2 each. Again, our goal is to ensure that Kentuckians with qualifying conditions have safe, affordable access to medicinal cannabis, and we structure this licensing process again in a way that is fair and transparent. I encourage all potential business license applicants to review the application licensing regulations, which we filed today. And I want to note that we sought to make the application process accessible to any business that is serious about being a responsible licensee in Kentucky. And we designed a business-friendly application process with helpful resources for that purpose. Those include a business licensing application guide, which will walk applicants step by step through this process. Again, we appreciate the support from the governor and his vision, and we look forward to the launch of the business licensing for Kentucky's medical cannabis program this year. Thank you, Governor.
If all that seemed very specific, it is. Now, this is not recreational cannabis. This is medical cannabis. And we have an idea of how many people will qualify for the conditions that exist. And so flooding a market with a product without scaling it to the number of people who could qualify for it is pretty much what happened to hemp when they issued just a ton of different licenses, and a whole lot of farmers suffered from serious and significant financial harm. So the goal here is knowing that there is a limited number of purchasers and patients, ensuring we scale it in the right way. So none of our farmers, our cultivators,